Aloha, everyone. This is Nikki Keohoho, CEO and co-founder of the DSWA and Coach Excellent School, and I'm so happy that you're with us today. I hope that somebody sent this to you or we got it to you so that you could join us. Get your paper and pen out because we want you to take notes. There'll be a lot of things that will be different for you or maybe open your mind to a new thought. We have several people that are on the call with us today that have also been a part of our Coach Excellence School. So some of these things and concepts you will be familiar with. Some things I hope I can make you take a pause and think about a little bit further. So today's training is on Are You Zoomed Out? Now, I don't know if that's you. Maybe you're fine. I love Zoom. I love the tool. I love what it does. I love that we give our members a really great discount. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I do think some people are tired of doing things with electronic and would rather be with people. And I don't know if that's you, but today we'll give you some ideas that will support you. So let's zoom in on how to sell and recruit more. Have less stress in your life. Clear your calendar and add impactful coaching conversations. That we're going to be talking about those things today. So again, get ready, have your paper and pencil so we can work through those. Are you the answer queen or king? Some of you that were on early saw me doing this. I was removing the crown, and I am hoping that you are too. Because if you are the answer queen or king, you've got everybody leaning on you, and they lean and they lean and they lean until some people burn out. So when we give all the answers and they're not their answers, by the way, we own those answers. So what happens is it doesn't work, it's your fault. So give up your crown. Know that you don't have to have all the answers. What's more important than having the answers is having the questions. And we're going to talk more about that in a bit. So are you training and training and training and retraining and retraining and retraining? If that's you, they're probably not getting it. Sometimes people think, well, they're not recruiting, they're not sponsoring people, so I've got to train again on sponsoring. And it's not what they need. If you've trained them on something and they're not doing it, they don't need more training. What they're needing is coaching, a whole different skill set. So I can tell you, yeah, what they need is coaching. But if you don't know what that even is or how to do it or where to start, it's like a waste of breath. So I'm going to give you a few skills today that will support you so at least you have a starting place. I just know, and I'm going to go back for a minute because if you are that answer queen or king, you have gotten in the habit of being that person and having all the answers. In fact, we think it's our job to have all those answers, to know everything. It is not our job to know everything. In fact, if we know everything, it looks way too hard, and that people think they can't be you. And you probably hear people saying that, I just can't be you. I can't be you. Well, if they can't be you, they don't want to be you and they don't want to be in a leadership role. So we've got to shift that. When they find out they don't have to have all the answers, all they need is the questions, it is a whole lot easier. And here's a way to get around that. If you're not quite sure what to say because you've been the answer queen, is to say, Sally, in the past, I gave you the answers. And I own that. I take responsibility for that. What I discovered was by me giving you the answer, it may not be your best answer. So, what I'm learning to do is to ask questions so that you discover what your best answer is. And when you that people don't object to their own answers, by the way. If you're getting a lot of objections in what you're saying to people, it's probably because you're making a lot of statements. They can object with that all day. If you ask questions, people don't object with their own answer. Very different process. So again, if you're that person that's been training and retraining, it's going to be important for you to understand how would you like to have an 88% retention of that information versus 22%? Because here's the statistic. When you are a good trainer, you have the voice, the pitch, the speed, the tonality. You move your voice. You have compelling content, things that people want to learn and know. You have humor. You have good audio visuals. You have engagement. When you have all of those things in place and you're a great trainer, average retention and application of what you said is 22%. When you combine coaching skills with your training skills, average retention and application is 88%, 66% swing. It is a huge tool to know how to anchor in learning, how to have things get stuck in there. So instead of just making a bunch of statements, ask questions and get in their head. You know, even like I was in this big coliseum, and I don't know, it was 20,000 people or something like that. And the owner said to me, Nikki, you can't do what you do in that kind of a situation. And I said, well, how would you know that? And he said, well, it's not possible. That's meant for small groups. And we came to an agreement. He was going to let me make an attempt to do this, and he saw it worked. So I would make a statement, then ask a question and pause. And in that pause, the other party answered the question in their own brain, because there's tension in your brain to find the answer. So that pause is good. Sometimes in a small group, they'll answer it out loud. In a big group, you might have them share it with a partner or write it down or just think about it. Because when you do that, all of a sudden what happens is they become more engaged in the process. So which would you rather have? 22% retention and application or 88% retention and application? Significant difference. So there is a better way. How many of you could get excited about having a better way? You know, just because we've done something a certain way for 10 years, 15 years, 1 year, 3 months, doesn't mean that's the best way. And it also may not mean that there's not something better. What I want to share with you is, you know, it's an old saying, if you keep doing the things that you've been doing the same way you've been doing them, you can get the different results. If you want different results, you might want to look at the coach approach, which I'm going to be talking about today. So learn how to ask empowering and powerful questions. These questions empower people. They don't make them feel stupid. They don't make them feel like they're not enough. They are powerful questions that empower the person. They get them to think beyond the current circumstances. So, an example, if somebody has been stuck in a position or a rank or at an income level for an extended period of time, if no one is coaching them, they maybe won't know how to get out of it unless they've been taught self-coaching, which is part of what we teach in the coach schools, how to coach yourself. But if not, they just keep staying there. We can't see the way out. So those questions support someone to have a new vision, a new picture. The better the question that uses the kinesthetic, the auditory, the visual skills, understanding the behavioral style of the person, the better the question, the better results. I've said this for 100 years. The quality of the questions you ask yourself are directly related to the quality of your life. It's the same thing. The quality of the questions you ask others are directly related to the success that they have and the quality of their life. So we want to get really good at these questions. So these powerful and empowering questions begin with these words. If somebody wants to type it into the box, that chat box, that would be great. These are the words: who, what, when, where, and how. Who, what, when, where, and how. Those are what your questions start with, because what that does is create an open-ended question so the other person talks. Now, when you get into the advanced course, which we have coming up in November, after you've taken level 1, you will learn distinction questions, contrast questions, other types of questions. For right now, you're going to start off with who, what, when, where, how. And you ask one question at a time. And you ask simple, short, brief questions. And don't second guess your questions. A new coach will do this. Well, what do you think would, oh, that's not that good. How do you approach, oh, that's not that good either. So where's a good place for you to start? The person's brain is back on question 1 and they're not staying with you. So pause, think. You don't have to shoot these questions out like this. I think people thought I died between questions when I first started coaching because I really needed to think about it. It's okay. Just say this to your teammate. You know what? I really want a moment to pause and to ponder this so I can ask you the best question that will give you the best results. And what are they going to say? No, I don't want the best results. I don't want the best question. They always say, please do. In that precious pause, you give people space and grace to think and give yourself space and grace to think. So, those empowering and powerful questions are really important. Don't be so hard on yourself and think you need to ask the perfect question. There is no question monitor sitting next to you on the desk saying, bad question. No, I'm going to make a statement here that's going to make you all think. Any question that comes from a place of service, that comes from a place of seeking to understand versus judgment, is better than any statement you could ever make. Let me say that again. Any question that you ask that comes from a place of service, that has no judgment attached to it, is better than any statement you could ever make. So, this is an important piece for us to be aware of. So, I got a question here, and oh, yay, the who, what, when, where, how. Thank you so much, Mara, for putting that in there. Um, this has happened to me. Thank you for giving me permission to know that there is no perfect question. I just need to think before I ask. I'm so happy for you. Just pause. It's okay. They aren't dying on the other end. You know, when I had my very first coach, he was very different than my behavioral style. My brain goes sort of scary, and he's very methodical and thinks in order, and is just more at a different pace than I am. And so he would ask me a question, and I'd go bop 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 bop, and then there'd be nothing on the other end. And I'd say, hey, did we get cut off? What happened there? Where are you? And he finally said, Nikki, would you prefer I rush a question or give you the best question that will give you the best results? I said, no, I want the best question. So I would just wait. I'd do my nails or whatever, I, I would wait for him to come back. And then he came back with a question that was boom, zinger. It's not how many questions you ask, it's the quality of the question that you ask. It's how you get into the person's brain, into their mind, into their thoughts. That is what matters here. And you all can get good at this, I promise you. It's a commitment. And by the way, this isn't just for your business, this is for your family. This is for every single relationship you have in your life. You'll have a better relationship with your partner, your husband. You'll have better relationship with your children, with your mother, with your father. For some reason, women have been taught to multitask, and sometimes men have been taught to be in charge, and their role is to be the fixer. So we take that role on into every relationship that we have. First of all, nobody is broken. Our job is not to fix anybody. And if you look at people as whole and complete, they know you see them that way. Important for all of us. So learn to ask those questions. And by the way, in the chat box, you can ask any question you want, or you can make any comment you want, because I'd love to respond to anything that you have there. So support your team to move to agreed action and accountability. Now, here's a danger. And by the way, part of the coach school, you take a behavioral assessment with our level 1 school. So you learn about your personality, your behavioral style. And that tells us a lot about you and you about yourself. And you get 2 parts to that. You get one that is your basic, which is how you see you. And the second part is called the environmental. That's how other people perceive you. So if you have a very direct, decisive, D-dominant behavioral style, you want to start at agreed action and accountability. You want to move them into action. Let's get off the phone and go do something. That's kind of how we think. Now, for you S's, you steady people, you're really kind, you're people oriented, you're more reserved, you're gentle, you're fabulous listeners. This skill is hard for you to do because you don't want to be pushy. So what happens? The people sit in mediocrity. You have a lot of conversations without any results. So, yes, heart centered listening is an important skill, and I'm not covering it today, but I can tell you it's the most important skill. Listening to people and the meaning behind their words. And those steady people, what we do is we listen and we listen and we listen and we think we had a good conversation and there's no results. That's not what you want. It's not what you want. So, agreed action and accountability is when that person agrees to take an action, they're committed to that action, and they're accountable for yourself. I want you to pretend there's somebody from your team right in front of you right now. And I can't see you, but I hope you do this with me. And just say this with me. I, I am not responsible. I'm not responsible for your success. For your success. Let me try it again. I am not responsible for your success. Now, here's the thing when we tell people what to do, when to do it, how to do it, we are holding on to the responsibility for that action because they never agreed to do what they wanted to do. It's what you told them to do. And sometimes people tell us what we want to hear versus what is the truth. So be cautious that you don't turn into that person that is the director directing traffic with everybody and your whole family. So, them learning to agree to the action and be accountable for themselves takes a whole load off your shoulders. If you are feeling tired and a little burnt out, or feeling like you're not quite in it the way you want to be in it, probably you're owning a lot of responsibility for the people on your team. Not a good place to be. So, agreed action and accountability. One way to get there with someone is so, what I'm hearing you say, listen to that's a listening response versus what you said is, because you might have heard it wrong. So, what I'm hearing you say is that you would like to call 20 people this week. Now, I'm going to check in with them. So, when will you have time to call those 20 people? Oh, I have 10 minutes on Thursday. So, how many quality calls can you make in that 10 minutes? Oh, probably two. So, which two would you call first? And notice there's no two. You started at 22. That's not enough. There's no judgment here. So, when you say, so which two would you call first? They say, my friend Sally and Susan. Wonderful. So, what I'm hearing you say is that you're going to call Sally and Susan on Thursday in that 10 minutes that you have. On a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to making that happen? If they say 7, well, what will it take to move you to a 9 or a 10? Well, probably I only would have enough time to do one quality call. So which one would you call first? I'd call Susie. All right, great. Now, how committed on a scale of 1 to 10 are you to reaching out to Susie? Oh, I'm going to do that. I am going to do that. How am I going to know how that went so we can celebrate? Oh, I'll text you. I'll text you right after that call. I'm really looking forward to hearing how that went. Now, I want you to understand this. Integrity is one of the 5 principles of coaching. Those 5 principles are service, spells the word stare. You can write this down the page. Service, trust, authenticity, integrity, and respect. So integrity is it's a high value for me, and I would bet it is for you. That you do what you say you're going to do. You follow through. People feel bad when they tell you they're going to do something and they really have no intention of doing it, but they think you want to hear it. So I want you to understand this. The word commitment is tied to integrity. They're connected. If you use the word commitment, that is glued to integrity. That's why I choose that word. I don't say, well, when would you like to, or who do you hope to call, or who could you call, or what, when we probably have some time. There's no commitment in that. Those are all skirting around the edges. And people do this to us and we think that they're saying they're going to do something. I could call my friend. That doesn't mean they're going to. So when they say, I could call my friends, you can say things like, so when will you call her? And notice a coaching voice is a gentle voice. Well, when will you call her, honey? You never called before. Be careful with what your facial expression is doing if you're on Zoom, and be careful of your voice. Coaching conversation is a gentle conversation. It's not an in your face conversation. It's a gentle, intimate conversation. So I have a couple of comments that have come in that are really, really good here. Questions that come out of a heart of service are always better than any statements that you can make. Very true. See, to coach is to serve. It's not to find fault and make somebody wrong and to fix them. I am not responsible for your success. Oh, Sandy, I'm so happy about that. You're not responsible for the success of others. And when we hold that responsibility, it's heavy. And then we say things like, oh, I lost another director. You didn't lose them. Newsflash. They are not wandering around in the forest, lost. They chose to walk away. If you did your job, that's all you can do. You can't do their job too. So we tend to find opportunities to feel guilty when somebody walks away. And if you were training and coaching and leading by example and following the company's policies and procedures and selling the product, you did your part. You can't make somebody want to be successful. You can ask the right questions to move their thoughts so that maybe they will choose to be successful and step in there, but you can't be responsible for everybody else because part of you leaves when they leave. And then you think, why should I bother to recruit? I'm just going to lose them again. They're not lost. They chose to walk away. That was their decision. I hope that took some relief off of some of you. So support them into that agreed action and accountability so they really do move to action. So create a coaching experience that is valued by the coachee and valuable to the coachee and to yourself. Here we are in an excessive virtual environment. There's so much going on virtually, people do not feel close to one another. So remember, coaching is not training. They're two very different skill sets. Coaching is not mentoring, it isn't counseling, it isn't therapy. It's its own skill set. All those things are valuable. Coaching is just its own skill set. So how can I make it valuable to a person I'm coaching? I can make it them value it and feel that it was valuable by giving them some different results. Maybe reframing how they see things. Maybe having, a paradigm shift on something. Maybe making them feel you care about them and you notice them and you hear them. Most people in our world aren't heard. And even though, yes, we're in an excessive virtual environment, people are right now feeling alone, isolated. There are people that are depressed. There's all kinds of things. Whereas when somebody really hears them and listens to understand, not to be understood, not to get their point across, they're not thinking about what they're going to say next. They're truly in the moment with that person. You are valued by them. So how do we create this coaching experience? Yes, you can do that on Zoom or Skype or other tools. You can do it on the telephone. And by the way, when you're on the telephone with people, when I first started, I mean, I am kind of a bright, shiny object person. I notice like my papayas are really getting ripe. My pomegranates are getting deep red. Grapefruits are looking good. I'm all over the place. By the way, I live here in Hawaii. So I'm looking around. My mountains are just beautiful today. I could get distracted so easily. So when I'm on the phone, I close my eyes. I have candles burning, or I have my aromatherapy burning right now. I do things to keep me as present as possible. Here's another thing, because I briefly mentioned heart centered listening. When you're in internal listening, you're in your head, just tap your head right here. Touch your head. This is where you're thinking about what you're going to say next, or, oh God, whatever she said, I don't believe her. She's not going to do that. You have judgment. You have other stuff going on here. Take your hands, move them to your heart, and tap your heart slowly. I wear a necklace a lot, so I keep my hand by my heart because you look kind of strange going when you're with people. So just get to your heart. Sometimes I just do this so I can stay in that heart place. Now, on Zoom, it's a little harder. So if you're using Zoom or another tool so you can see each other, there's good to that, and there's some things that maybe aren't as good. The good to that is that you can see their expression, you can see their pause, you can see their face turn red, you can see their breathing change. So you have clues. That's all good. The challenge might be they can see that in you too. And maybe you're looking stressed, or maybe you're going, oh crud, I don't know what to say next. So you decide what works for you and how you want to work with people. You've got to create a valuable experience, and and to let them know that they are valued, that they matter, that you're listening to them. You can't be doing anything, even if you're taking notes. If I was on a coaching conversation with you right now, I would ask you permission. May I take a few notes while we talk? I just want to capture every word you're saying. I don't want to miss anything. What does that say? It says she's valuable. He's valuable. That is what we're saying by that. Versus if I'm over here typing, they think I'm doing email, not knowing I'm actually taking notes on what they're saying. It's important to make that person feel they're the only person in the room. That is the beautiful thing about coaching. When you are 100% present with people, that's the gift that you're giving them. That is the gift of being present. It's a beautiful thing. So, how do we get to do this to create an I get to be coached environment? Sometimes people think I have to do this, I have to do that. In our own language, and we teach about enlightened vocabulary in the school too. In our own language, when we keep saying I have to, I need to, I should, those are heavy words versus I choose to, I get to, I expect to, I am. Very different feeling about those words. So, how do you create an I get to be coached environment? They get value. They know it's doing something for them. And it's not you giving them directives again, telling them what to do, finding what's wrong with them. I just know that when I get up in the morning and my self coaching is, what do I get to do today? I feel very differently about that day. Not, and if I said, I'm laying in bed, what do I have to do today? Doesn't feel really good. So I get to, and they get to coach with you. You see, coaching is the gift to the other person. So if you're a person that is, it's not fun for you, it's not enjoyable, it's stressful, it's I have to, there's something wrong with how you're coaching, because coaching actually fills you up. When you're a good coach, you hang up and you go, oh, I made a difference for him today. I feel so good about our conversation. And you get to do that for people. See, I love to meet people I've never met before. So I'll be on an airplane. I used to fly Southwest a lot when we first started, and I got to choose the people that I sat next to. I'd get in there and I'd sit down next to the window, and my husband would sit next to the aisle, and that middle seat was open, and I would smile at somebody that I thought looked stressed, or that I thought looked a little high maintenance, and I said, I just put my hand like, come sit down here, and they'd sit down in that seat because you get to choose your seat. You're not assigned, for all you Aussies, and they would sit down, and you never ask somebody, how are you doing today, if you think you're going to get bombed with a dissertation of everything that's wrong and you don't know how to handle it. But sometimes I just kind of, it was like a game to me in a way. It was fun. And by the way, you can't screw anybody up too bad in 2 hours. I mean, and they're not going to jump, so they're kind of stuck there. So you get to practice. It's a good place to practice when we start flying again and the middle seat actually is filled. Anyway, so I say, so how's your day today? Oh, this and this. And they vent for a few minutes, and I said, so what could change that for you? What could make that different? I always ask permission before I coach. So may I ask you a few questions about that? And they always say yes. So, what would you do differently to have the day be different? It was interesting to see a bulb switch in people's brains. Or how would you prefer your day to go? So they see a picture of what they want the day to look like versus what it is. All of these gifts, these tools, are going to support you to be a better person, not just a better leader and a better partner, or a better, mother. It's to be a better person because what it says is you invest in people, you care about people, you honor people. Just think if our world was like this. If we didn't have to have people screaming and yelling at each other and all the drama, how much better our world would be. People learn to understand and to listen to one another. Wow, it'd be very, very different out there in our world. I got a couple of more questions here, so I want to comment on those. Um, the service, uh, integrity. I get to. I choose to. This person I think needs for me to repeat the five principles: service, trust. They got to trust you, folks. They've got to trust that you're not going to go blab everything that they've said. They've got to trust that you have no judgment. They've got to trust that you care. There's got to be trust in a coaching relationship. The A is authenticity. You don't have to be somebody you're not. What is beautiful is you get to be you. And who you are is more than enough. It's not just enough, it's more than enough. So be yourself, be authentic. You don't have to worry about how did I act yesterday, so I got to act like that today. That's an act. In fact, I used to hear people say this. Well, if you don't know something, just act as if you do. It's an act. Here's the thing, you don't have to know. Ask them questions or say, you know what, that is a really good question. I can see you're really an insightful person. I'd love to find out more about that and get back with you because I do want you to know and understand what that's about. And I get to learn in the same time. What are they going to say? Oh, she's an idiot? No. They go, oh, that person's authentic. I like them. And the I stood for integrity, doing the right things even when people aren't looking. You don't want to show up one way and then you're someplace, something else the next time. Who you are, again, you operate in integrity. And then that last letter, the R, is respect. Showing respect for other people, being respectful. If you've got judgment, you are being disrespectful. Right now here in Hawaii, we have a lot of homeless people, and it's very sad. It's full families moving into tent cities that we've had to set up. And some people go to the other side of the street when they see a homeless person or a homeless family walking down the street. You show respect when you say, good morning, I hope you have a great day. Don't show fear. Look them in the eye. They feel honored. They don't feel invisible anymore. We've got to do this for humanity, folks. I, this is not just about coaching today. This is about how we all show up in the world, how we contribute to our world, how we give back. You can be a difference maker. You maybe already are for some. What would it be like to be a difference maker for more? Well, through coaching, you have more leaders. You become a leader of leaders, and those leaders transfer this forward. We can reach millions of people together to empower people around the world with these skills. And that's my vision, and I'm holding on to it. So, coaching is a gift to all. Coaching is a gift to all. Give the gift freely. Don't be afraid to engage with people. Don't be afraid to be interested. You see, people find you interesting when you are interested in them. Slow down so you can speed up in life. Slow down and be present with people. Slow down and be a person who really cares about others. Not what they can do for you, what you can do for them. It's interesting because, see, in coaching, you don't own the outcome. Everybody owns their own outcome. And I know some of you are thinking, well, how can I, let go of the outcome when my income is based on their outcome? Well, I'm going to tell you something, and this is a fact. When you let go of the outcome, your income will increase because people are operating at their highest levels. They're thinking with elevated thinking. They're seeing beyond their current circumstances. So share this gift with other people. All of you have the same opportunities. It's what you do with it that matters. And I love what I get to do every day. Grace and I enjoy teaching these schools, and now we're doing them virtually so we can have people from around the world on the same call. Share this with people that could benefit from learning to coach. Share this audio. It's going to come to you as a recording. Please share it with other people. If that's all they can do is listen to a recording, I'm happy because they've got something they can apply into their life right away. We want you to get this value. So I'm looking for any questions, comments, or thoughts to go into the chat box. If there is someone that has something that you would like to say, you can raise your hand. There's somebody, Terry Hatch, I'm so excited to see you. I haven't seen you in years. Thank you for joining us today. And always, Sylvia, you're always here. I know so many of these names. We love our members. We love people, especially after we get to know you. Once you've been in the coach school, we really get to know you very, very well. And Boomy, there you are. Boomy's been all the way through certification. It's, school's not out for us. We're all learning. We all have an opportunity to learn. And we're so happy that you're here with us. So I just recognize so many of these names. Gregory, glad that you're with us. Gregory Muscari and Robin, you're always here. I can't wait for the school to start next week. Jackie, we are thrilled for you from your Australia group in New Zealand to join us. It's going to be great fun, and I'm glad that you came onto this call. Anybody else with a comment or a thought? I'm going to say something. Some of you took this course long ago, and we're on our 54th revision. We just did another revision this week, which I'm really excited about because one of the things that we're doing, and I'm going to put up this next slide while we're waiting for those to come up so you can learn more about how to find information on the school. We are now doing on this level 1 class, and we're probably going to do it for level 2 also, is to do the first 2 live classes that we would have done. The first 2 modules are going to be pre-course. So you'll get them as recordings. You can listen to them. You can fill in your workbook. So we have more time live, which is going to allow all of you to be able to practice more, put you into breakout sessions, and go into small groups so that you can really get the skills and practice it and get your ahas. No better way of learning than by doing it. Um, Thank you, Lisa. She says, I love this. I was honored to be a part of my company's training that you did for a day that had a little bit of coaching. And you didn't get the whole school, but you got a little bit. This, what I did today, is this much of what happens in the 8 weeks that we have together. So I'm so excited for all of you. Loved learning from you in Saskatoon when you came. That was fun. I think you did the full school up there. I'm going to tell you, if you've already been to a Coach Excellence school previously, the same level. So if you've been to a level 1 school, you can do the online school for half price. You type refresh in all caps, REFRESH, in the chat box, and you come for half price, which is a really good deal. And you can come back many times. Some people come 4 or 5 times, or they bring their team the other time. So that's going to be really, really important for you to do. Some people do level 1, then they go to level 2, then they come back to level 1, and they come back to level 2. It's up to you with the order in which you do that. Always a student of the game. And Sylvia, would you mind if you feel comfortable typing in your age in the box? Because I love this woman. She's always on Facebook. She's a vibrant, beautiful soul, and she's always learning, and she's getting better and better and better at everything she does. Um, I was about to ask that same question. I did this long ago, but wondered if it would be different. Of course, it's different. Every time you come to the school, it's different. And here's why. First of all, we're learning. Both Grace and I have invested in a lot of courses during COVID. We have become certified in human behavior. Of course, we're certified coaches. We've become certified in human behavior, certified in emotional intelligence. So we're adding new topics to our classes always. And as we revise things, we learn from our students and we get better and better. So yes, and so you can go half price if you choose it to do that way. If you got the information this morning, there was a coupon if you paid in full for $100 off if you paid in full, and that's 100, the number 100, capital OFF, all caps. That's if you pay in full. You can pay up to 6 payments. Now I'm telling you, this has been an unusual thing because COVID has affected a lot of people. So we're just trusting people will follow through, even though they're finished with the class, that they will make all of those payments. So to Sylvia, my dear friend, is 81 years old, a very active woman in her company. And I'm so proud of you, Sylvia, that you love to learn and you pass learning forward to others. So, any other comments or thoughts from anybody, please type them into the chat box or you can raise your hand and I will unmute you and call on you if you'd like to speak or share anything of your experience. That's up to you. But otherwise, I hope that you'll register for either level 1 or level 2 and that you will go in and really listen to those audios in advance so that you're get the most out of it. If you can, get the coaching collection or self-coaching CDs, that we can send those out um, digitally also. But we want to make sure that you get as much in your head before you come, because it takes a lot to think about how this might all work. And and again, we've learned a lot of new things, and excited to share those with you. So thank you for your comments in the box, and thank you for joining us today. You will receive this recording. Feel free to share it with whoever you'd like to in the next day or two, and make sure that you use these skills in your life, and particularly with the people that you love the most. We don't need to direct traffic for them. And one of the skills we didn't cover today was ICU acknowledgement. And I'm going to say that skill is a game changer when you learn how to acknowledge the qualities in people, when you learn how to see their greatness versus their faults. Sometimes we look at people that we have been with for a long time and we see the small things versus what really matters in life. I've known my husband for 50 years. We've been married, actually 51 years. We've been married for 46 years. And I really make an effort every day to acknowledge him and to recognize who he is and what he's about, his qualities. Try that today. He is a man of integrity. He has tenacity. He is creative. He's dependable. Whatever those words are, share those words with the people that you love, because sometimes we get all bent out of shape. They forgot to put down the toilet seat. I promise you will not fall in and be stuck for your lifetime. So it is not a big deal in the big game of things. So find something great, and find something great about yourself, and enjoy the journey more. So love all of you, and happy that you joined us today, and looking forward to getting to know you even better in one of the upcoming events. Take care, everyone. Love you all. Aloha.